Developing now, one person dead, a Tallahassee officer hurt following a hostage situation that ended in an officer-involved shooting. Co-anchor Angela Green is following that story today. Now, Angela, a lot to unpack so far, but what led us up to this point?
Yeah, Brian, this all happened last night around 11 o'clock, but this is where it ended, right here at this apartment complex outside of this window. Take a look at all the damage that was done by a suspect. This was an act. Less than a half mile away behind the Publix. Now, police say an officer made contact with what they were calling a suspicious vehicle in the parking lot, and inside that vehicle were two men, a woman, and a child. Police say the driver got out of that vehicle to talk to the officer. He was cooperative, and that's when everything took a turn, and the remaining man inside got in the driver's seat and took off. When he did, he hit and injured another officer who responded to the scene. And at this apartment complex, the vehicle was abandoned here. When police were canvassing the area, they say someone ran out of a nearby residence saying that someone was inside their home holding hostages. And here's what happened next.
Officers were securing the perimeter when the armed male suspect jumped from the second-story window on the back of the home. The suspect raised his weapon at the officer. Fearing for their life, the officer then fired their weapon, disarming the suspect. Life-saving aid was rendered on scene to the suspect, who was then transported to a local hospital where he was pronounced deceased.
And the chief made it clear that the shooting was captured on body cam. Every police officer wears one. He said the video will be released at some point once they've had time to look it over and get it cleared by the city's attorney. Now, there's no word on the relationship between the people who live here or any of the people involved in this case. No information has been released yet about that suspect, those hostages, and for now, no other charges have been made in this case. Now, as far as that officer involved, Chief Revel says that officer is on administrative leave, which is standard protocol in officer-involved shootings. That officer's name will not be released. You might remember just earlier this week, the state appellate court made a ruling on Marcy's Law that officers are victims when they're on the job and involved in a situation when the situation arises to where they're officers. It's the same thing in this situation. Chief Revel says under Marcy's Law, the officer's name will be protected because in this case, that officer was a victim. Now, ABC 27's Jada William is also working this case right now. Jada, you were able to talk to people who saw what happened from the beginning. What do we know?
All played out as people were in their homes last night here at Valencia Square. I talked to Maurice Kirksey. He lives just 2 doors down from where it all happened. Here's what he says.
Sorry, I don't want to feel like I'm on the cop side, but at this, I felt like they did what they had to do because they patiently waited. You could tell, because I was looking out through the window the whole time. Like, you could tell they was waiting and patiently waiting.
Kirksey says he's shocked by what happened and summed the entire ordeal up as traumatizing. But he says that he's thankful for the quick response from the Tallahassee Police Department. Now, as Angela mentioned earlier, Police Chief Lawrence Revel says that he will release that body camera footage, but there is no word on when that video will be released.
And that was ABC 27's Jada Williams reporting. Now, we do know that that was a lot of information, so I want to take a moment just to recap everything for you. Tallahassee police said that an officer shot and killed a hostage suspect overnight. Police said that it happened after the suspect pointed a gun at an officer. This morning, Chief Revel said that the department will release video from the entire incident, but have not said exactly when that will happen. The officer involved is now on administrative leave. And as we mentioned, this is a developing story. You can stay up to date at WTXL.tv or by downloading the ABC 27 News app.